All right, here we are. It's another recording of Inside Fitness Radio with your host, Terry Frendo. And today we have a special guest, Lauren Jacobsen.
Hello.
Welcome, Lauren.
Thank you.
We also have another special guest here, Cherry.
Hi.
How's it going, Cherry?
Good, thank you.
All right. So, Lauren, I've known Lauren for a long time, and I ran into her. She's in Toronto for the next little bit. And I said, hey, Lauren, we need to get you in on a podcast because you have such a very interesting story. So, Lauren, let's just start off with a little bit of your background.
Sure.
Where you were born in where?
Aurelia.
Aurelia.
Yeah, a little small town just north of Toronto.
And you were raised there?
I was raised there. I grew up there. And then I went to school in Peterborough. I went to Trent University. And
what did you take at Trent University?
I studied biochemistry, and I actually focused on biochemistry of supplements and nutrition.
Oh, wow. Supplements and nutrition.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. So, I mean, that obviously led you into doing what then right after school?
When I finished school, I ended up moving to Toronto, and I got my first job at a school was actually at a GNC.
Oh, which one did you work at?
I worked at the big one downtown at the Eaton Center.
Oh, so you must have worked with Dwayne?
Yes, I worked with Dwayne.
Yes,
Dwayne was my boss.
Oh, wow. Very great guy. Love
Yeah.
Dwayne. I haven't seen him in a little while, but definitely. So one of the things that, that I'm fascinated with is I've been in the industry for over 20 years, and there's very few females that I come across, and especially on the science side and all, like even like biochemistry. I mean, what is essentially biochemistry? What did you study and how did you, use
Decide,
that? Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. How did you get into this?
Yeah. Well, biochem actually is a study of the chemistry of the body. So when I first was in school, I got into fitness, actually. I got into like working out and training and that. And when I realized that like the two go kind of hand in hand, like whatever you put in your body is essentially is going to drive what you get out. So I started getting more interested in supplements. Mm-hmm. And I think at the time when I was in school, like there was only a few supplement companies, and like EAS was like a big one at that point. And one of their big products was creatine and phosphagen. So that product kind of inspired me to like look into working in supplements, actually.
Yeah. So when did you start working out? Was it a young age?
I started training when I was in high school, actually. And that kind of
what inspired you? What inspired you to work out? Did you read magazines? Like, who did you see? Was there something that like I just want to look good?
Yeah, two things. So one, I was into sports. I really like was interested in like how can I like look better? Or how can I train more? So this was kind of like how I
and this is going back into what, like the 2000. I don't want to date you too much here, but we have to put things in perspective because, I mean, honestly, you have to put things in perspective because the fitness that we see now and everything that we see now is not the way it was back then, right? I mean, it wasn't, right?
Not. I think the first magazine I laid my eyes on was Oxygen, and it really inspired me actually a lot. Like, I used to buy like every single issue.
What was the first cover? Who did you see?
Nadine.
Who was it?
She had a ponytail, brown hair, green and pink outfit with like a beach volleyball. Yeah, I think this was one of the first covers. And then maybe Amy Fladley.
Amy Fadley,
yeah.
Amy Fadley, yeah, definitely. Yeah. They were big. Well, back at that time, I obviously worked at Oxygen, and the fitness personalities, the fitness stars were, the Monica Brants and all that. And they were big, like big names. Amy Fadley. I actually used to do Star Weekends with Muscle Mag, and we'd hire them and bring them out. And you'd get hundreds and hundreds of people lined up and this is before Instagram. So this is where you would see the magazines
and before even like really like internet. Like I don't remember ever doing like a Google search on it for anything until like way later.
Yeah.
It was like waiting for the magazine to come out.
Yeah.
Like, and
that definitely
waiting and waiting. Oh, who's going to be on the cover and what?
So
what am I going to learn?
Would you consider yourself a bit of a nerd when you were younger? I mean, not to, because you definitely don't look like one. I don't want to say anything, but I'm just saying, would you consider?
Definitely after, I guess, high school, when I got into university and I was studying like a science, definitely. The other magazine I used to read a lot was MD because they would have a lot of chemistry.
They were more hardcore
too. It was a bit more hardcore. So I was really interested in the science of like building muscle and how to do that with supplements, nutrition, workouts. Like this was like
Yeah.
And I always had this like, oh man, I want to write for a magazine when I'm done school. Like that was like.
So let's get back in it, because we're gonna go. I don't want to go too far off track because there's so much here to talk about. So you got into fitness, started working out. You actually competed.
I did, yeah. I competed. You know who actually inspired me to compete was when I started working at Muscle Tech. Okay. I ended up going to an Olympia, and one of the first people I met was Monica Brandt. I was like, oh my goodness, I want to look like this. I'm like, I wanted to compete after I saw her.
Wow, very cool, very cool. So after you were at GNC, you were doing that, then you went to go work at Muscle Tech.
Yeah.
And that was, I remember too, there was probably a lot of guys in that. And you were doing what, marketing? Where you're in science?
I was actually in R&D.
R&D, yeah.
I can remember even my interview because they made me like write out the creatine pathway. Like, how much of a nerd is that? Yeah. And then when I got the job, I was actually the first girl to be hired in R&D. There was a few girls in marketing. But yeah, I was the only one. Like I think I might have been like employee number like 40 or 50.
Oh,
like
wow.
It was
early.
It was early days.
Yeah, and there's not too many companies even back then too that really had an R&D department.
No,
right? I mean, people would think they do, but it was just another lab where actually Muscle Tech had people in house. They did the research and you guys are doing. What were some of the things that you worked on there that were big or anything, a huge accomplishment?
I worked on formulas mostly. I worked on a lot of background research. We would look at like if we knew we were going to change a formula, we need to look and see what's out there right now, what else can be put into a product. And I worked actually a lot on some female product lines that never got launched because I was like the only female at that point working in the department.
Yeah, I remember there was a surge back then where they were coming out with products for women.
Yes, yeah.
What did you think? What do you think about products for women? Let's be honest about this.
It's not necessary.
Well, I mean, listen, I think it's if there's...
It's more marketing.
I think the packaging and some things can be definitely more female skewed, but I do think for some products you could have ingredients and things that would make more sense for a female. If you're talking about vitamins,
definitely.
It would be for a male.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you come down to it,
when it comes to like creatine and pre-workout,
some of those, typical stuff,
protein powder, all of them are the same. Like it, yeah.
So when you were working with Muscle Tech, you would be traveling, you'd be going all over the place. Like what kind of stuff were you doing there?
Mostly R&D, research and development. I actually started in R&D and then I moved in from R&D into basically new product development. So I was at that point, I moved out of like doing research to doing like product development for new products. So looking for new ingredients. So yeah, I would travel to shows, supplement supply shows, find new ingredients, find what's going to be like the hot item that we have to put into a product, and then start developing the brand from the ground up. So doing all the consumer research, what are we looking for? What is our retail companies looking for in terms of shelf space? Like it was all like, it was branding, marketing, everything that you can think of, right down to like the formulation.
So you obviously had to push your way through and get, seen and heard and when you're working with people.
Yeah, definitely.
What would be some of the challenges that you had?
I think the first challenge, especially working with a lot of guys, is that you have to kind of prove yourself, like that you're at the same level as them, whether it's your brain or even working out. And that was actually how I kind of got through to a lot of the guys I worked with when I first started working at Muscle Tech.
I find, in the supplement industry, regardless of your sex, you still have to prove who you are.
Yeah,
but then they look at you and they can look at you and they can judge you. Some people look at you and say, oh, this person, I mean, obviously you're very pretty and you had a look, and they could look at you and say, oh, what does she know?
Yeah.
Right? Did you get that?
Yeah. I got a lot of you compete. Like, especially when I used to go to the trade shows, it was like, oh, are you a competitor? You're not a booth bunny.
Yeah.
I was like, no, actually, I work for the company. I'm in R&D. It was like,
research.
You have a biochem degree. It was like, okay, then. Yeah.
No, I always, like I said to you before, I always thought that was really interesting. And here's a little fun fact for people, and I take a lot of pride in this, is that when we started the magazine, it was kind of cool to have, that whole edge. And Mr. X, we had a section.
Yes.
And Mr. X was written by Lauren for a very long time.
Yeah.
And no one knew. People would ask me, and it was kind of like our own little inside, I guess it was a joke to us, but it wasn't, Well, I remember calling. I spoke with you actually many times with some referrals companies. I mean, this is the thing. The way I look at it, I don't care. I mean, and I'll be so blatant. I swear, Cherry. I hope that doesn't bother you. Does that bother you on the podcast?
No, not at all.
I will.
Yeah, no,
I swear.
we're good.
We're not going to bleep it out afterwards, but like, fuck, like I don't. It doesn't matter. I'm always kind of a person where I don't care really what you fucking look like, who you really are. If you can work, you can do what you need to do. You fucking do it. And I remember calling you, and I had customers. I don't like to refer people to people like, they may get it done. And many times I'd sent them, and they were kind of shocked a bit too. They're like, well, you have someone who could write this. And I'm like, yep, she could do science. She could write actually marketing. Because it's a unique skill. It's not something that too many people, learn how to do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was one thing that I thought was just awesome. And I'm trying to think of who have you come across in the science, seriously, in the science world? I know there's got to be, right? But I mean, the supplement world, I'm trying to think if there was anyone, especially back then. I mean.
Like the guys that I worked with, yeah, definitely.
Females.
Females, no. Like, I'm even to this day, I don't think I know that many girls that worked in the same capacity as what I did.
Yeah, you must have a thick skin because just listen. If you're in the boys' room to some extent, you know what I mean. Like I know how guys are, and they can say things, and you can't be too soft and take things too.
Well, I always kind of took the approach of just be like one of the guys. I actually grew up with boys. Like I grew up with my male cousins, and it was I would be more of a tomboy, I think, than a girly girl.
You're more of a man, yeah.
Yeah, so it was like, okay, whatever. You just talk about them at the game or this, or just keep it light and don't be so. Don't take things so literally.
Yeah.
Or
some people now, I think nowadays take things way too literally. Like I find, like I said, I mean, some people are just a little bit too soft before, and where I think in the work environment, I get it. People have to be respectful. I mean, of people's feelings. But I mean, there was a time when we were in the workforce.
Yeah.
And I remember my boss would say things and all that. And I mean, you're not like, what do you do? And of course, sometimes it sucked, but at the same time, you have a thick skin. So,
yeah, thick skin, or just like don't take it so seriously all the time. Like I would always there was many times where I'd be like at a show and I would be the only girl working like the booth or the only girl in the room kind of thing. And it'd be like, just be like, yeah, whatever. Like just joke with them and don't if they say something to you, just, yeah, okay. Yeah, sure. Joke with them back.
So one of the things I wanted to get into was what motivates you and what motivated you. Let's start off with what motivated you back then to get in and to stay in it. What was your main motivation?
I think I just had such a passion for nutrition and for supplements and research. And I loved combining the two, like being able to work in the same industry that I was competing. Yeah. To me, it was like, it made sense. And I feel like even now I'm not sick of it. Like I love being able to write and work, on new products and new ideas, new concepts, but not, I'm always enjoying it. I think if I didn't enjoy it anymore, then it would be different.
Yeah.
But that still motivates me.
Now, competing, kind of back to your fitness stuff, how many shows have you done?
I competed for on and off for 10 years.
Wow. Do you know? Do you actually have a number of how many shows you were in?
I don't know. It was probably around, I want to say 20, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah, about 2 to 3 a year, depending.
There will be probably some quite a few of our listeners who are competing, who want to compete. I mean, over 10 years on and off, that's quite a bit. What advice would you give for someone who's thinking about getting into it now?
I was saying actually to Cherry over the weekend, I was like, I don't know if I could ever do this again. I don't know if I would do this now.
But we're also older and wiser.
And wiser,
to some things. I mean, being naive when you're younger is a good thing.
True.
Someone who really wants to do it, right? You remember your mindset when you're younger. You've got all these things going on. I want to compete. What would you say to someone?
I would say if you're going to get into it, you have to, first of all, be very confident in yourself. You can't think if you lose, you have to be able to handle that loss. Because at the beginning, actually, I did really well and I won.
You won.
I won a lot. And then over time, it was when I wasn't getting the placings that I wanted, politics and everything else start to come into play. But you can't take it personally. It's just
your mindset.
It's about being a really strong mindset, being really focused on what you think your outcome is going to be. And for me, I never thought like I'm going to compete the rest of my life. Like I knew that wasn't going to happen. Like it was take what you can from it now, the experiences that you're going to get, enjoy the process. And once you stop enjoying the process, then don't do it anymore. And that's what I did.
Well, we have Cherry here. Cherry, I want to get you in on this a little bit because when you talk about the competition side, you were with Lauren. Did you help her out with Tanny? Get a little closer to the microphone.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So
she was.
Well, actually, when did you guys meet each other?
We actually met at NX Labs.
Yeah, when we worked together.
So I was in the trade marketing department.
Company, yeah.
Yep.
She was doing.
And you guys became besties right away, or what?
She stalked me. She came to one of my shows. Actually,
I didn't stalk. No, I was learning. I was just getting into, that world of competing, and I came out and learned. She was putting it out there that she was competing. I went out there by myself, and then.
Did she help you with any of the diet and training and all that?
She helped me with my competition stage.
I helped you with the walk.
The walk and posing and stuff, because back then they didn't have bikini. They had figure.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Bikini didn't exist. It was like the the Musclemania guys, Fitness America.
Right.
They were doing that for a long time, but bikini didn't actually exist around here.
But I went out to her for nationals or something like that.
2006 was the national world qualifier.
Right.
Yeah.
And I went out there and saw her compete, and then I ended up competing in November for my first show. Yeah.
You guys would train together?
Yeah, we did.
We used to.
Yeah, that was fun. That was good times.
And how was Cherry as a training partner?
Great.
Yeah.
She's really strong.
Is she?
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd never know.
Wow.
Yeah, actually, she's very determined. When she gets her mindset, it's like.
But what's your strongest body part, Cherry? What do we got going on?
Right now?
Well, no.
Or back then?
Legs.
Well,
legs.
I think
legs, shoulders.
Yeah. Legs and shoulders.
Yeah. How about you, Lauren? What's your strongest body part?
Used to be my legs, like deadlifts. I could do pretty good.
Do you want to throw some numbers out there to people so they could know? I mean, guys like to throw their deadlifts and all that stuff.
I like at one point when I was like really into training, I think I did like 2 plates for deadlifts inside. That was not bad. I was never into like hurting myself.
That's another thing
training
too.
really hard. Like
because
I would train to look like for figure. I competed in figure. So it was all about, the X, like getting that perfect taper. So the way I trained was a bit different.
So would you do like more reps, like lower weights? It's more about the form, right? This is one of those things.
More about form, more about making sure that everything was like perfect. Like I trained with Eric DeLaro for many years, who is
Eric.
Jay Cutler's buddy, and I think he was on Jay Cutler's team for a long time.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Eric knows his stuff.
Eric was really good.
I was out there last year. You guys hooked me up with Eric, and I went to go, and he gave me a tour of Gold's Gym.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'd been there before, but it was really cool, and he gave me kind of the breakdown what's going on now in Gold's Gym, and it's so different to where it was before. Oh yeah, I mean a lot of things look the same, but the people and the way it is now. But Eric, he knows his.
Yeah, I used to go see Eric like for like a couple of weeks or maybe 8 weeks out from my show. I would go for like a couple of weeks and just train with him and get ready. He'd be like, that would be like almost a halfway point in my prep.
So when it comes to trainers, right? I mean, what do you look for? What do you think are the key attributes that people should look for in a trainer?
For me, it was someone that I could talk to and wasn't talking like down on to me. Like, so someone who would listen, because I would never like, I knew enough in nutrition and supplements that I could be like, no, that doesn't work that way. I know that. I know my body. Yeah. So Eric was good because we would fight like sister and brother. Like it would be okay. It'd be like, we'd fight and then be like, okay, no problem.
Yeah. You'd listen to him.
Yeah, I would listen and back and forth.
I think that's key when you're training with people. I mean, I like to think I know some stuff, but I think I don't like a lot of trainers. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, I've dealt with a lot of them. I like the elite people, and you're right. I mean, I like when they can listen to you and they can work with you and tell you what to do, but without really making you feel stupid. Because let's be honest. I mean, a good trainer is going to look at your form, help you and correct you. It's things that you should know or you probably know. It's just that's why they're there, is to watch you. So.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I had respect for Eric. Like, he had so many people he's trained with, and he was the type of trainer that would listen and was always kind of there for you if you needed him, like not just like through my training, but just everything. Like we had a good relationship as a trainer coach.
Did you ever work with a female coach at all?
Never. But I mean, maybe at the time there just wasn't that many females that
I have a strong feeling that if you were to start now,
I'm sure there would
certainly
be.
would. Oh, absolutely. I would say so. There's so many women out there now. I just think back then, listen, I worked on Oxygen magazine. I started issue number 4. And to put things in perspective to people, the advertising side, they were giving us ads that were like men. It was like Lee Priest. There would be ads with like Prolab, and it'd be a guy, and I'm like, this does not work at all. I mean, people got to remember that. Now it's a different time, and I mean, I certainly think now there would be, but back then you were very limited, right?
Yep.
Okay, so now this is what I wanted to get into. You worked in the supplement industry, and then was it 4 or 5 years ago? How long has it been that you made a decision?
That I left Canada was almost 5 years.
Now, this is where I think it takes a lot of guts. You know what I mean? Because it's very easy to stay here. You had a job. I think you're working at another big...
Yep. It was actually, I had a consulting business and I had 2 clients that I was working with.
You're making money
doing
here.
Supplements.
You're doing well. Yep. And then, so what happened? How old were you? Because how old were you when this came up?
37.
Mid-30s, around there?
37.
Because I always say to people, like around your mid-30s, or you're going to be, mid-20s, mid-30s, mid-40s, you start to make some decisions. So you had an opportunity to go work overseas.
In Dubai, yes.
Dubai.
Yeah.
In Dubai. And what's the company?
The company I work for is called KCAL.
And what do they do?
We have actually 6 companies that are all related to food and nutrition. We have 2 meal prep companies. One is more focused on weight loss, and the second one is focused on athlete meals, actually.
Okay, so how did this opportunity come up?
It's a good story.
Yeah.
So I think maybe 8 years ago now, I had a client from Dubai. So I used to have a small, like, kind of online training, as well as doing consulting and stuff. And I had one client from Dubai who had a friend who was starting a business called KCAL.
So like, hey, I got this friend. You should look at this. So like, this wasn't an established company, really.
No, it wasn't even.
So
like
they're
only
double whammy here, right? I mean, it's one thing like, hey, I got this, go to Dubai and we have this company. It's like, okay, big company, but this is an upstart.
It was a startup, and it was maybe 2 years old at the time.
Okay. So
when he started talking to me about it, I was like, yeah, okay. He's like, yeah, I'm going to give him your number. He's going to call you. I'm like, right.
What did you know about Dubai? What did you know about that?
I knew nothing about Dubai. I knew it was a pretty place.
You saw the videos,
saw videos. It seemed like it was like pretty affluent.
So when shit got real and you got an offer, I guess.
Yeah.
What was your initial?
Yeah. So basically, the owner, he did end up calling me, and he kind of like phone stalked me for 3 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So he just kept calling me like every few months. Yeah, we're doing this now, or we're doing that, or it's getting to this point, blah, 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 blah. And then one day he's like, yeah, I'm ready. Are you ready to come work in Dubai? I was like, maybe. Okay. So we started talking about an offer. And once I got the offer that I wanted, I decided, like, what if I got to lose? It's like, I have a consulting business. I have a business. I decided to continue consulting while I was there for the first few months, just in case.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't know.
Didn't like it. Yeah.
And so when you got to Dubai, what was your first initial thoughts?
This place is like nothing I've ever seen before in my life. And I think a lot of people have this expectation maybe in their mind about what Dubai is going to be like, especially if you're a woman. But it was not like that at all. It was completely different than I thought.
Would you think it was going to be a little bit more reserved, a little bit more?
Yeah, I thought for sure it was going to be more reserved. I thought, like, I don't know. I just didn't know what to expect, actually. I knew it was going to be warm in terms of the climate, but in terms of working there, I wasn't sure. But the guys that I work for, one is from the UK and the other one is from Denmark. So they're expats as well. Mm-hmm. And I thought, okay, so at least I'm going to be with people that are like, not local.
So what kind of things have you done with the company? So it's been 4 years?
It's been 4.5, almost 5 years.
And how many stores or how much have you guys grown?
We've grown a lot. So when I started there, we had, I think, three or four businesses maybe at the time. So I helped them launch the Fuel Up brand. And that was kind of based on my experience as a competitor. And in the 2 years, almost 3 years now that it's grown quite a bit. We have, I think, 9 outlets for K-Cow World, K-Cow Life, which is like the restaurants.
Yeah.
We also have one in Kuwait.
Oh, yeah.
And we're looking at franchising out
All
more.
Over? Yeah.
All
maybe
over.
Toronto.
Maybe.
Somewhere, right? Oakville, we could get one. So you obviously have been doing a lot of traveling then.
Yeah.
With this job.
Yeah. When you're in the Middle East, you're pretty much close to everything.
Just list off some of the cool places that you've been
Where
to.
have I been? Beirut is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I've been to Cyprus. I've been to Malta.
Yes. Right, Cherry? Yes. Malta. Awesome. Yeah.
I've been to Barcelona, Ibiza. Where else?
What's your favorite place to go?
I like Europe. It's really nice. Yeah. It's just a little more relaxed.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
It's way more, the temperature is different. That's for sure. I did want to talk to you about some things about, like I said, mindset and all that. And, I'm big into this and motivation, like I said earlier. Now, when it comes to coming up with ideas, right? Where do you find you get your creativity from?
Where do I get my creativity from? I think everywhere and anywhere.
Like, I'll give you an example. Like for me, when I'm in the shower, sometimes I find I don't have any phones. I'm isolated. I come with my ideas. I find my motivation there. I get some creative ideas. You have a place? Do you go to go on a walk? Like, what do you do to create? Because you have to come up with ideas as a marketing person.
Yeah. It's constant, whether it's writing or like whatever. But I think now, because I have the opportunity to be by the ocean, a lot of times when I want to like chill out and like think about things, I will go to the beach, because I find that to be very relaxing, and I can just kind of clear my head and then think about things. I usually bring a book with me. Sometimes I'll bring a notepad, and I just have it like, okay, I think of something. Okay, I like that idea. Or actually nowadays, I don't even use a notepad. I use my phone. So I have notes on my phone. Yeah. And even I find that sometimes when I'm doing cardio, so if I do classes now, but before I do Muay Thai and kickboxing. It's a whole other, that's a whole other world now. I'm getting into fighting scene.
So you obviously like to challenge yourself, right? This is one of those things where, and it takes a certain person, like you said, to have that mindset, right? So you do Muay Thai, kickboxing.
Yeah.
Have you done any extreme stuff? Any bungee jumping or any? You're into this stuff?
No,
not
actually,
yet?
Do you know what? In Dubai, you can go skydiving like every day of the week. And I had actually signed up for skydiving, and I was going to do it for my 40th birthday. But then every time I went, there was bad weather. And it was like by the third time, I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to do it. I was like, forget it. I think that's a sign.
So back to the mindset stuff too. I want to talk about when you were competing, what was there anything at that point that you used to help focus on training? Was there any like tools or tips? I know those are kind of like loaded questions, and but was there anything that would come to mind? Like you said, I don't know.
I would always have a goal. When it came to competing, it was always a goal. Like just with that one goal in mind.
You want to be a pro? Was it something that could happen?
I did want to be a pro, but I approached competing with a bit of a different mindset. Actually, I was thinking about the future, like past competing. So I always thought, I would love to get my pro card, but I'm actually want to use competing as a step towards something else. So I always kind of, even like with my current job and anything that I do, I'm kind of like, okay, what's next? So when I started writing for Inside Fitness, I was like, okay, so who else can I write for? Now that I've established this, where else? And it kind of led me to,
and I think it's smart. I think it's always smart to reach out. And as long as you work with credible brands and work with credible people, it's always a good way to increase your profile.
Yeah.
Right?
But I also kind of wanted to use it like as I've grown and aged, it was like, okay, I don't want to stay in the fitness industry necessarily completely. Like I wanted to work in food. I wanted to get into that aspect because I knew it's going to be like the wave of the future. Like everyone is going to be eating better. Everyone's going to be, doing this meal service. And so that's kind of like, I'm always thinking about like, what's after this? Like I'm going to complete this goal and then there's going to be something else. I don't like just stop like, okay, this is done. I'm done. Like that doesn't happen.
But didn't you have like, so you have multiple goals to get to a bigger goal?
Yeah.
So you're gonna say like, I'm gonna do, I'm gonna compete, then maybe I'll do a photo shoot. Maybe I'll get in the hot fit.
Yeah.
That's good.
I also was more like, okay, I want to compete to get maybe more magazine coverage, to maybe build my name as a writer, because like when you compete, it's kind of like an entry into it. I don't think that exists now though necessarily, because with the social media the way it is, you can create.
Yeah, I mean,
anybody can be anything now.
Yeah. I think, competing was a way to get out there, and I think if you could win trophies, I think it's great.
Yeah.
You don't need to win trophies.
No, you don't.
It's personality. Yeah. But you're very unique in the sense that you worked in the industry. I mean, you're around it all. You competed.
Yeah, I even did TV. I don't know if you remember that. I had a TV.
That's right.
I was on a TV show for like a little while.
Was that what was it called? Body Fuel.
Yeah.
That was a while ago. So you were always into nutrition, obviously, right? So what's your favorite foods?
My favorite foods.
Yeah, give me like, okay, if you're gonna eat, like what's no
good or bad?
Let's do both, but let's start with bad.
Bad foods. Okay. I love pizza. I love Italian food.
Where's the best pizza you've ever had?
Actually, probably you're gonna love this. Maybe Malta.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. But also us, like Europe is like pretty much anywhere you go in Europe is good. Like, yeah. But Malta, I had some.
So how about
I had the Maltese like pizza, like the special with the.
Yeah, they've definitely got some good food over there. But I mean, when I was in Malta, I walked so much. Like I was everywhere. And then these ice creams. Oh my god.
Yeah, gelato. Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
How about clean food? What's your favorite?
Clean. I love to eat salad.
Yeah.
I could eat salad, any kind of salad every day. Greens, green vegetables. Like I eat a lot of, I've changed the way I've eaten. Like I used to eat just like a lot of protein, like protein. And then as I stopped competing, I was like, I don't need to eat all this protein. I'm like, I don't need all this.
Yeah.
So yeah.
How many meals do you eat? Like I do want to talk a little about nutrition.
Nowadays I eat 3 meals and I'll have 2 snacks. So it's not really changed that much, but
Okay, so when you adjusted, because you competed for over 10 years off and on, you have to eat more when you compete, right?
I ate a lot. I would eat like 5 to 6 times a day.
How did you adjust afterwards?
Oh, that was hard. Actually.
Yeah, no, I've heard this from another competitor, and it was one of the things that I didn't even really kind of think about in that extent, because I mean I never competed, but I certainly. So what did you do to adjust?
I had to stop myself from eating for a long time because I actually found like I was getting heavy because you're
not going to work out the same way, but you're still used to kind of eating.
Your stomach is used to eating that much, so it took a while to like slowly kind of like get off of eating so much, and now I just eat smaller portions. I don't really worry as much. I think that's the one thing. Like when I did travel, and I remember going to Portugal years ago and like getting half a chicken, and it was small, but it was organic. But the portions are a lot more controlled. And then after a while, if you could kind of adapt, you should be able to. Yeah. And I always have followed like 40, 30, 30, like 40% protein, 30 carb, 30 veg, or 30 fat. Most of the carb would be like a split between veg and small amount of starch. Now, in Dubai, what's the fitness scene? I know you're obviously working in the business, but you see it. I'm sure you go to the gyms. Fitness scene is happening. It's growing, expanding.
Yes, we have a mutual friend out there, Greg.
He has
Matrix and a bunch of other. You said MeFit, right?
MeFit, yeah.
So what's the scene like in Dubai right now?
Well, when I first got there, it was kind of niche, but I would say like in the past 5 years, I've seen it just like expand like crazy, especially like you can see the Dubai Muscle Show. Like when it first started, it was like a small little, like it was at the yacht club. Now it's like at the convention center. In 5 years, it's grown like.
Yeah, I heard it was outdoors, the first one, right?
Yeah, it
right?
was.
I didn't,
wow.
Yeah, I heard it was outdoors.
It was at the yacht club. Yeah.
Well, and now it's in the convention center. It's big.
It's big.
Certainly. We need to go out there, Cherry.
Yeah.
You ready for that?
Yeah.
December? Let's do it.
December. It's in December.
Yeah.
Now, what do you have lined up for the future? What do you have planned?
Well, I'm thinking that it might be time to perhaps do my own thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We'll see what happens. But yeah.
So we'll have to maybe do a follow up and down the road.
Yeah,
and see, and,
yeah. I'm not like, I love Dubai, but it's one of those type of places that you like have to really think, okay, what's
long term.
Yeah,
I get
it's not
homesick too,
it's not like a long term place.
It's a long term.
It's a very transient environment, but it's like, okay, so I've done it.
Yeah.
What's next?
Yeah, well, maybe that goes with the personality too, right? You need some new challenges in your life.
Yes.
Obviously, from what you've told us today, there's a lot of big things to do
Yeah.
in the future. So thank you very much, Lauren. I
Thank
appreciate it.
you.
Sherry, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.